this time, Commissioner Harris is going to lead us in a prayer.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to gather together as a group, as a community. We ask your guidance and your direction in every decision that's made today. Keep everyone safe and returning home. In your name we ask it.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Stevens?
Here.
Commissioner Cutler?
Here.
Chairman Henry?
Here.
Commissioner Harris?
Here.
Commissioner Long?
Here. Staff, is there any items to add or remove to the agenda besides the one for the accommodation modification tab? I don't have anything else. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda with the one, the proposed approval of the accommodation modification plan?
Second.
All in favor of approving the amended agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Agenda is approved. Moving on, everyone had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting, and if so, we have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Skip?
Mr. Chairman.
Bad.
Mr. Chairman, we have a proclamation for Autism Awareness Month, April 2019. Whereas autism spectrum disorder is a neurodevelopmental disorder that affects a person's ability to communicate, understand language, play, work, and relate to others. And whereas, according to the Centers for Disease Control, autism affects an estimated 1 in 59 children in the United States today. There is no known cause and no known cure for autism. And whereas autism is a lifelong condition, and whereas autism affects all ethnic and socioeconomic groups, and whereas, true to its name, autism is a spectrum. This means people with autism are unique. Some may have a severe challenges while others are milder. Whereas there are many different characteristics in individuals with autism: delayed or deficient communication, decreased or unresponsive social interaction, unusual reaction to normal stimuli, and lack of spontaneous or imaginative play and behavioral challenges. And whereas all individuals with autism should be included as valuable members of our community, provided with opportunities and supports to live, work, and play as independently as possible. And whereas through research, training, public services, support groups, advocacy, and increased awareness, we will be more accepting and inclusive and better equipped to support the growing number of individuals with autism and their families. And it is therefore proclaimed that it is fitting to proclaim the month of April 2019 World Autism Awareness Month in Catoosa County, Georgia, and April 2nd, 2019 as World Autism Awareness Day. So resolved this second day of April 2019, Catoosa County Board of Commissioners by Stephen M. Henry, Chairman, attest Rachel J. Clark, Finance Director. And Mr. Chairman, the proclamation that I just read was written by Trevor Arnold. Trevor is 14 years of age, and he is a resident of Catoosa County, Georgia. And I believe his mom is here tonight. Come on.
Ms. Arnold, Trevor, we got the Ms. Arms.
Yes.
If you'll wait just a minute, I think Rachel's going to get you a copy of that.
Okay.
Thank you, Rachel. This time we'll move on to appearances. Would anybody like to speak?
I'm Sharice Millen, I live in the county. If we had not recently hired a $70,000 employee from another county, we could have given all employees a 5% COLA raise instead of 3%. Why are we buying so many vehicles all of a sudden? It seems that the fire department, sheriff's department, and county manager have raked in big time the generosity of the Catoosa County taxpayers. Donald Brown stated in a recent work session that the reason a Ford was purchased for our county manager was because it's easier for him to work on and parts are interchangeable with other county Ford vehicles. If this is true, then why are we purchasing Durangos for the fire department? Who is servicing the non-Ford vehicles? Why are we even buying a private vehicle, county vehicle, for a county manager or anyone else for that matter? To my knowledge, we've never done this before. You don't consider me that special, and it's my tax money and everyone else's tax money in this county. Since its recent purchase, has this vehicle not been in 2 incidences? Who repaired the vehicle and where is the documentation? Regarding the person who was recently hired for $70,000, is he filling a job vacated by a previous employee, or was this a new position created just for him? The previous employee's salary was half of this $70,000 and was a female. Is this discrimination? Why are so many employees leaving the road department? All of these questions need to be answered. I have a real problem with how our hiring policies are handled. We have very qualified residents of this county who have applied for jobs but have not even been interviewed because you commissioners already have your minds made up as to who you are hiring and for what salary. It's usually someone from another county or city. We need to hire residents from within our own county. Why are we allowing the county manager a vacation when she has not finished her first full year of employment? Spending has become a real problem in this county, especially within the past year, and it is getting worse since new hires have come in. The voters rejected the T-SPLOST by a very large margin. I'm telling you now that I think the taxpayers are fed up and have become more aware of the excessive spending, backroom deals, and lack of transparency occurring within our county government. The next time a SPLOST tax comes up for renewal, you may just be surprised if the taxpayers start cutting off your funds. I don't know how we can explain any better that we're tired of so many taxes placed upon us and the threats you throw at us if we don't vote the taxes back in. This is blackmail. You seem to conveniently forget that you work for us. We do not work for you, so please get your act together. I'm very appreciative that we have at least one commissioner who's using common sense, explaining why he votes the way he does, tries to be transparent, and doesn't lose his temper. That commissioner is Charlie Stevens, and I'm very grateful for his trying to do the very best for the county. Thank you, Charlie. Others I am very grateful for are Melissa Hanna and Carl Hansen. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that with all the erratic spending you commissioners are ordering, you wave your magic wands and expect Carl to magically wave his wand to make it happen. Next year, we hope to take your magic wands away. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak?
K. George Battersby, District 4, Mr. Stevens District. On 2/19, Skip Petty proposed a vote on a feasibility study for the Graysville Bridge project, which was approved. On 3/18, at the Graysville school meeting, with the engineer, we quizzed him about the project, and he said he's been working on it since 1st of February, which was 17 days before the vote. So it appears to me that the vote was cast before you all cast it here. And on a meeting on 5th of February, the commission approved the purchase of a luxury SUV for the county manager. And oddly enough, the next morning it appeared here from North Carolina. Well, I was in the car business for 44 years, and it just didn't work that quick, I'm afraid. And I have a copy of the invoice from the dealer, King Ford in Murphy. We don't even support our local dealers. And it says, hold check for delivery on Wednesday. Why would you write that on there if it is Wednesday? So, an initial by Carl Henson. Very, very disturbing. So that vote was already cast before you cast it here. So apparently 2 of the commissioners' votes don't ever count for anything. Another thing, you need to remind the county manager that she works at the pleasure of the commissioners. And it's not her club. In other words, she can't hire and fire people as she pleases. It should be run before the commission, and if there's a reason for hiring, the proper steps should be taken before you let somebody go, in order for her to hire a friend from Whitfield County or a friend's husband. And on the Northwest Georgia Joint Development, I would love to know what we give Jeff Mullis 80 to 90 grand a year for. I'd sure like to know where that money goes, what it's for, and not just Jeff Mullis's 401k account. And you hired his one of his right-hand men, Keith Bartlett, for 70 grand a year. I want to know what his job description is, what the county expects from him, what we expect from him to earn that 70 grand. You know, we just don't want to pay somebody 70 grand just to create a job for a friend of Jeff Mullis. And we are, as you know, after the election, I think the election spoke volumes that we are watching very carefully. One last thing. I called in to Judy O'Neill's show on the 20th, the day after the election. The 2 hosts, and I won't be a second, hope I don't go over this, but this is kind of important. I'll make it as quick as possible. But it was asking viewers' opinion of why the Splosh vote did so bad. And I called in and gave my 12 to 15 reasons why it went so bad. After I called in, Commissioner Long called in and gave his opinion, and a little bitter, which I can understand about the vote. But anyway, one of the hosts asked him about a point that I'd raised, and he said, well, don't worry about him. He's just mad because his son didn't qualify for the bus, for a bus, Catoosa County Transit. I don't want to relive that again, because I've been through that. That's all history with me. Evidently, it's not with Mr. Long. My son, we lived in Walker County for 4 years. Walker County took him to the AIM Center in Chattanooga for 4 years. We paid $4 a trip. Great. We moved to Catoosa County. We didn't know any different, as most people wouldn't. We called for a ride for him to school, no problem. They took him for 20 years. When Catoosa County saw that they had a way out of taking him to Chattanooga, in the rules it said it has to be medical only. So my son is handicapped. He has a brain injury, and it's nice for you to have the autism thing tonight, but I hope those people have gone. But frankly, I don't think you all care about anybody with any kind of mental illness, no matter what plaque or certificate you give out. But anyway, we all get over it. It caused us a year of grief where he couldn't go anywhere, where we were waiting for a Medicaid waiver. He had to stay home and see his dying grandmother, which is very depressing for anybody, but especially for him. Not one of you all asked how was he doing in that year, even though I come here twice a month, because you don't care. At least the previous county manager, who was, I think we'll all agree, was a scoundrel, at least 3 or 4 times he asked me, how is your son? I think he really did have a little bit of conscience. But as far as you making that crack, Mr. Long, totally out of line, even for you. Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak?
Williams, and I live in the county, and since Mr. Battersby brought up about the Northwest Georgia Joint Development, you all hiring that gentleman from there, I have had a thing with all these commissioners for about 10 years. We give Senator Mullis money every year in the 90,000s, and it's been going on for about 11 years. Multiply that times what we give him, and think about what we have got in return, which nobody in this county knows. Nobody can tell you. That gentleman that y'all hired left from there, and I have his payroll. He left Senator Mullis's office for $48,000 a year, okay? We give him a $22,000 increase. Did y'all tell him what he was gonna make before he was hired or after he was hired? There is you a question. And when the girl left from here, she was making $38,000. I got her payroll too, so we all know that those figures are correct. Because y'all had Mr. Bartley come here one time because I asked you to put down on page 123 of the budget book who was professional services that were getting the 90,000. Well, it's Senator Mullis, and why y'all don't put down Northwest Georgia Joint Development, it's real simple, so everybody would know, because we have to come down here and look and go ask questions to everybody until we find out. I think y'all should be a little more transparent with what we are giving this organization so everybody will know. And I think that whoever this gentleman is that y'all hired and brought down here one time, because I was asking some questions and he gave a PowerPoint, but he never did tell us one thing, not one item about what that office does for this county. He just showed you a pie chart with a bunch of little things on it, and that was it, and he left. And I don't blame him, I would have left too. But I thank you very much, and Carl, I hate to see you leave, no matter who's coming, it's not gonna be Carl.
Anybody else like to speak? Donald Brown.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is a request to declare the county fixed assets surplus. We got Crown Vic turned in, a truck, a couple tractors, we grade all, the old learning center bus, and then some miscellaneous items.
We have a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Master, I'll leave the useful life, man.
Yeah. It's wore out. The learning center just got a new bus, and then the sheriff had just recently turned in another vehicle, a Crown Vic. They have truck tractors, and then we had an older grade off that just, I checked in and seen how much it cost repair, and it was about half of my equipment repair budget, so it's just not worth repairing.
Is this here gonna be online, or is it gonna be done locally?
It'll be on Gov Deals. Actually, we've been putting county surplus on Gov Deals since 2014. We sold, I just looked up today, 240 items for approximately $247,000. So you reach a whole lot more people, and it's amazing because I've had people bid on vehicles from Chicago. So.
Are you sure you want to get rid of the small talk?
Actually, those are Basically, those are snow plows that went on the 95 model dump trucks, the big tandems, and we've tried not to use those big tandems to push snow with, just because, you know, you got so many areas like one, and I think like my second year in, we turned a dump truck over on a hill over in Eaton's, on Lookout Road, they're behind the racetrack. And so after that, I was like, we need to get away from doing this. We just had too many hills. I mean, there's just too many. So it's better using a flatbed with plows and those sand sprayers go on a lot easier on those flatbeds. And because with the dump trucks, you gotta take the tailgates off. It's just, that's dangerous in itself. So this works pretty good. So I have one of those deals if you'd like to get on this.
Any other questions? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Industrial. You're back up.
Yeah, this is the resolution authorizing for the detail, prison detail from Walker. We currently we have one detail that comes from Walker State Prison. Their contract starts July 1st through June 30th next year. They provide a maximum of 10 inmates and one correctional officer for public works projects, and help us do a lot of things for $39,500.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Any questions on that? Carl, this pretty much the standard we do every year, correct? No changes in price or
Same as the prior year.
industrial is up to 10 inmates at a time.
Yeah,
We need,
we usually get about 7, just kind of depends. And for the most part, we get the same ones, but every now and then you have one get out. So, but they usually, they know that we do a lot of stuff, a lot of road work, and so they try to send us some pretty good inmates. And we do, we get some good inmates. So it helps tremendously. I can't tell you. When I first got there, we had 4. You know, we had 2 from Hayes and 2 from Walker, and then, you know, the Hayes stopped. They had a lot going on down there, and then eventually Walker we lost the prison guard, and they just couldn't get another one going for us. So we had a contract for 2, but we didn't see, we didn't ever get the other one, so it was just easier to just have one improve. It does have a lot.
Buster, how many years have we participated with this?
Since when I started, like I said, I started in 2010, it was 4, we had 4 details. And I mean, you know, we had two crews picking up garbage full time. And, but there was a prison reform act, I think, probably in 2011. And so they kind of done away with it statewide. I know Jeff probably had some too. But as long as I've been working on it, we have had it.
We used to have one even at the landfill, and it was open really.
any other questions? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Buster.
Thanks.
Steve, again?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, in February, the fire department went out for bid for 2 Dodge Durangos. They received 1 bid back from Mountain View Dodge here in Ringo at the price of $32,774.50. This is for a 2019 Dodge Durango rear-wheel drive special service vehicle. It will be used to replace 2 vehicles, 2 Crown Vics. One is a 2006 model with over 163,000 miles in them, and then the other is a 2011 model with 154,000 miles on it. The total price for both is $65,549, and this will come out of our 2014 supplies.
Do I have a motion
Motion.
Second.
What are we currently using these ground Vics for on a day-to-day basis?
They're used for transporting either back and forth to fire hall, we have to do personnel swaps or changes, and then we also use one to go back and forth to the fire academy. And that one is getting a lot of miles on it, so we're gonna have to take it out of service, and then we'll pass one down to replace it.
They're not really used for emergency uses right now. Any
No.
of that?
Is there any reason for the Dodge Durango? Is it just a new car or?
That was just the one that Chief Camp specified.
Any other questions?
This has already been in the budget, in the 2014 SPOS.
Carl, there's money coming from 2014 SPOS. So
2014
basically,
SPOS.
it was approved 5 years ago.
And I think they did look at towing package and things like that they couldn't do without. And I believe that was a lot of the reason why they went with this vehicle, is the fact that it has a lot of versatility without having to get some of the extras.
That's good.
That's good.
So these vehicles aren't serviced by Buster Team?
I know initially, at least, they'll be covered in warranty, and then I do know that they have worked on some of our Ram squad trucks that we have, so they are capable of working on the Buster shop.
They probably one of the greatest bodies of the fleet that the sheriff's department's got. Those Dodge Chargers. It's the feet of more questions.
Rachel, you do a roll call vote, please.
Sure. Commissioner Stevens?
No.
Commissioner Cutler?
Yes.
Chairman Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris? Commissioner Long?
Yes. Like that, it's music and all. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, to give the board a little history on this particular item, back in 2011, the county was looking for a place to locate the fire station in the Wood Station area. The Catoosa Utility District Authority owns a large tract of land that they acquired mostly to protect Yates Spring, their primary water source for part of the county. They offered to give the county a 2-acre tract of land located at the intersection of Georgia Highway 151 and Yates Springs Road, provided that it could only be used for constructing a fire station on the property. After we entered into the intergovernmental agreement for them to provide the 2-acre tract of land, we determined that it really wasn't feasible to build the fire station on that particular property. There was a lot of concern about disposal of waste. They didn't want any type of on-site sewage management system to be constructed to service the station, and also it was not really located in the right location. We actually never exchanged deeds, but this intergovernmental agreement has been out there, and the Catoosa Utility District Authority has requested that we enter into an agreement canceling the intergovernmental agreement, and to clear up any issue regarding the property, that we execute and deliver a quitclaim deed back to the Catoosa Utility District Authority. I checked with Chief Camp, and he confirmed that no, we don't have any need for that property, and it should be returned to the Catoosa Utility District Authority.
Have a motion to approve.
So moved. I'll second.
Any questions, comments, concerns?
This is the property that you could not do a second time.
Yeah, I'll do a second that, we'll put us in a 6 mile, so on top of that, we got 500,000.
Yeah, because that's the spring. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, right, irrigation, that's where water. Anything, questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, Skip. Carl?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have second budget amendment for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2019. This is a mid-year budget amendment. In the budget process, the Board of Commissioners provide for a contingency reserve to meet the changing governmental expenses and needs which occur during the fiscal year. It normally runs approximately $250,000. This year, you provided $238,675. The largest part of this mid-year budget amendment is normally to provide for the general wage increase, which is scheduled for the first week in April. The first pay period in April each year. This is for the general government, other than the Sheriff's Department that was provided for in the current budget. To meet these changing needs, we have to distribute the cost, including payroll taxes, to the various departments and other funds. The general wage increase, including payroll-related expenses, was $140,000. Other payroll-related items occurred during the current fiscal year. We hired 4 interns, hired a new EDA director, we provided for a deputy clerk, totaling $96,159. Total payroll-related items were $236,520, probably less than the amount of the contingency reserve, therefore no impact to the general fund budget. Also provided in the general fund was the new contract with Puckett Emergency Medical Services, which was an increase of $100,000 for the annually. So we had to provide for the 6 months, $50,000 for the balance of the current fiscal year. This increase was offset by a reduction to budgeted user labor from the garage to public works, whereby in the past, public works had absorbed all the overhead for the garage, and now that more departments are using using the garage, part of that overhead is being distributed to the other departments. Other governmental funds include emergency management, emergency 911. The general wage increase was $15,000, which was provided for by a transfer from the general fund. Fire and rescue, the wage increase was $31,832, also provided for by a transfer from the general fund. In capital projects grant funds, we had an increase of $61,260. This was the VOCA grant for the state court solicitor. The expenditures were budgeted for $61,260. offset by grant revenue of the same amount. In the enterprise funds, the landfill, the general wage increase was $1,452, offset by additional fee revenue. In total, all funds, total budgeted increase was $109,601, bringing the amended budget for all funds to $47,337,127. That concludes.
Do we have a motion to approve the amendment?
So moved.
Second. Do we have any questions or comments before? No. Are you okay? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, Carl. Now you have the report for us.
I have the revenue report for the 6 month ended March. The lost receipts for the first 6 months of the fiscal year exceeded the budget by $305,000, 8.7%, and exceeded the same period prior year by $345,000, 9.9%. Cumulative lost receipts for the most recent 12-month period exceeded the prior 12-month period $599,000, by 8.6%. The current month exceeded the same period prior year by $84,000, or 16.6%. On the SPLOST receipts for the 56-month period of the 2014 SPLOST cycle, we've collected $46,587,880. We're currently at 83.2% of budget. SPLOST receipts for the most recent 12 months exceeded the prior 12 months, $855,000, 8.6%. Current month exceeded the prior year by $119,000, or 16.6%.
Any questions for Paul? Thank you, Paul. Are you gonna come back once before we do the report? That'll be fine, please. Reports, new business. Chad, how are we? Are you? The ratification of the department head, are you handling that?
I can.
Thank you.
The current policy adopted by the Board of Commissioners requires the board to ratify on recommendation all director or department head hirings made by the county manager. The county manager has recently hired and recommends for ratification Keith Barcliff as the Economic Development Director, and has recently promoted Rachel Clark to Finance Director. So both of them recommends her for that position. So both of those decisions are before this board for ratification to comply with current policy.
We want to handle the separate items.
You can handle them as separate, or you can handle them both. It doesn't matter.
Make a motion to approve, ratify both positions.
I think we ought to do it separately.
Yes.
Well, the motion will have to die, if Jeff made before we
Right, if there's a motion on the table, so I guess the question would be, is there a second to this motion to ratify and approve both positions?
I'll make a second, but I can withdraw that.
Well, if you made it, then I would think that we're out.
Is there any way you can come out, get it come out of that and go back? I mean, there's.
Robert's rules of order is when one of you make a motion, then the next step is to see if there's a second. And if there is a second, then you vote on the motion on the table.
Judge said it before he heard Charlie say what.
Okay. So Commissioner Harris would withdraw his second.
I can't withdraw myself.
Is that, if that's what I'm hearing you say?
Yes.
So there's a motion by Commissioner Long. Commissioner Harris has withdrawn his second based on Commissioner Stevens' comments. The question would be, is there another second to Commissioner Long's motion?
I withdraw my motion when you do that.
Okay. Well, that's fine. If you withdraw your motion, we'll do it separately.
Well, let's do it again. Who wants to go?
The first item will be that on your agenda is the Economic Development Director position. Is there a motion on that?
Make a motion. Second.
Keith, you're here, right?
Yes, sir.
Would you take a minute to come up and just tell everybody your credentials, what certifications you have? I know everybody's waiting with bated breath, but Keith actually has done this for a living and has a lot of class and a lot of certifications.
So I believe some of the confusion is in the previous position and my position. The previous position was an entry-level position, requiring no experience in economic development. This is more of a department head level position. I have 9 years experience in economic development. I also have a certified economic development credential from the International Economic Development Council. You know, I have the experience, I have the credentials to serve as economic development director, and I'm looking forward to serving the community of Catoosa County. My door is always open for anybody that has any questions about as to why economic development and industrial improvement is necessary for the county. But I don't want to belabor the meeting with details of what I do on a day-to-day basis, but essentially I'll be in charge of recruiting industry and business at Catoosa County.
Well, one of the things, Keith, if I may add, is being over the maintenance and making sure that people hold up their end of the bargain, like the Shaw or places like that.
Yes, sir.
We've not really held people accountable in the past because we didn't have the experience, and now we do, so hopefully we can hold it.
Yeah, we'll be working on a reporting system, so everything's, we're working towards moving towards a unified system. The current abatement deals have all been structured differently, so we're working on moving towards a unified system, so everybody's held to kind of the same standard. So.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Keith Bartlett? Rachel, would you do a roll call vote on this one, please?
Okay. Commissioner Stevens?
No.
Commissioner Cutler?
Yes.
Chairman Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Long?
Yes.
Rachel, would you like to stand up and give your call? I'm just kidding. Now, Rachel, I want to thank you for filling in. I appreciate you.
No problem.
We will. All right, next on the
Agenda will be-
Rachel's, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Do we have any questions for Ms. Rachel? Rachel, you want to give a roll call?
Can I do that on my own?
Yeah, you're just recording.
Technically, it's hard right now.
Commissioner Stevens?
Yes.
Commissioner Cutler?
Yes.
Chairman Henry?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Long?
Yes.
That is the last item on our agenda. Thank you, Jeff. Do we have any commissioner comments?
I'd just like to thank everybody for coming. I'd like to recognize my wife Darlene, who came, and my grandson, Grayson Ward, who's taking government classes and thought he would experience county government.
Only thing I'd like to say is thank you for coming out. Give you a reason why I didn't vote for the economic development, because I feel like we need to put, when our roads need to be put first before we can even get new business to come in. And I feel like we're, you know, that's what, number one needs to be done, is your infrastructure needs to be ready for that. And I feel like we can, you know, give an increase of increase
mean, we're talking out of both sides of our mouth, and so I don't need to get on a soapbox. But on one side, we say we don't want any new taxes, we're gonna let businesses and growth fuel this tax base. Then on the other side, we say, we don't want anybody to go get new business. We need new business, we need experts. We don't need to just put a for sale sign out on the lot and hope a company says, hey, let's go to Catoosa County. We need somebody who knows what they're doing to go out there and sell our county and bring the business in. So, and that's why I understand. And, you know, what, 4 years, you're in District 2, put no on there, and you might. But I want to thank everybody for coming out, and I appreciate you being good citizens.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out, and also congratulate Rachel for your promotion, and welcome aboard as economic development. I'm sure you'll do a great job.
This time to have a motion